Hello doll artists, Kim here from CustomDollBaby.com. Welcome back to another episode of Reborn with me. This is actually one of the final episodes of the Reborn with Me series. This is very exciting. Welcome to Stuffing and Weighting 201, Calculating Perfect Reborn Baby Weight. In Stuffing and Weighting 101, we talked about all of the cool stuff that you have available to you to add weight to your reborn doll. In Stuffing and Weighting 201, we want to talk about how much of that weight do you need and where should you put it relative to all the different vinyl parts. And this is great because I often get the question of, well, do you fill the glass beads up to the calf or do you stop at the ankle? And for me, it's not really about how much of the limb is glass beads, but more about what is the ideal weight of that limb and how much glass beads is required to get me to that weight. So very excited to walk you through how I do my real feel lifelike baby weight distribution. So how much weight do we need in a reborn doll? But it turns out that a real baby is made of mostly water. 7 or 8 pounds of mostly water feels a lot lighter than 7 pounds of glass beads or steel pellets or whatever weighting material you choose to use. And this is known as the dead weight effect. So that means in a reborn doll, the ideal lifelike baby weight is actually less than real baby weight. So if you have a doll that needs to feel like it's 7 pounds, you're not actually going to make it weigh 7 actual pounds. And if you don't believe me, take one of your dolls to the grocery store, to church, whatever, and hand that doll to unsuspecting people. If the person receiving the doll does this, then you know the baby is too heavy. However, if the receiver does this, then you know you got the weight just right. Trust me. Unsuspecting people are really good indicators of whether or not your doll is too heavy. I do it all the time. I take my dolls out and hand them to people. It's really weird, but it's great data. So now that we know that we need a little bit less than real baby weight, we have to figure out how to distribute that weight across the body parts. A few things that you need to keep in mind about weight distribution. The first is that the distribution varies by the age and size of the doll. Secondly, you need to keep in mind that that distribution should include the underlying weight of the vinyl. So even after we calculate our ideal weight for each baby body part, the vinyl itself adds a significant portion of that weight. So you want to make sure you keep that in mind as well as you're doing your weighting. So I think we've all seen this picture before. This is an image of how weight distribution varies by the age of a person, comparing 2 months pregnancy, 3 months pregnancy, to newborn all the way to adulthood. And what's important to notice is that the weight distribution shifts dramatically. Specifically, the proportion of your weight in your head goes down as you get older. For example, a newborn baby is carrying 25% of his weight in the head, which is why whenever you're holding a newborn baby or a newborn reborn, you always have to support the head. Contrast that to an adult. An adult carries only 8% of their total weight in their head. And this shift of weight from the head to other parts of the body is occurring throughout the infant stages as well, from newborn to 2-month-old to 6-month-old, 9-month-old to toddler. That weight distribution is shifting. And that should also be reflected in your reborn doll. Now, how do I know that? I did research. So if you'll hop in my time machine and go back to Germany with me in 1860, during this time, it was the Enlightenment period, we were doing a lot of research on human locomotion. So understanding, human center of gravity, understanding how we move, and especially understanding how much individual body parts weigh. Unfortunately, there's really only one way to figure out how much an individual body part weighs, and that is to take a cadaver and sever that body part and weigh it and calculate your volume and all of that. So that's pretty gross, but that's what they were doing. And unfortunately, during this time, infant mortality was a lot higher than it is today, so they had access to infant cadavers to do this kind of analysis as well. So I wasn't able to get my hands on the original paper. It is in German, but we were able to get some of the findings out of that to see that the weight distribution does shift for babies, for anywhere between a newborn to a toddler baby. That distribution, that shifting away from the head to other parts of the body is taking place. And for a truly lifelike baby doll, we want that to be reflected in our dolls as well. So that brings me to my primary research. Actually taking doll kits, which fortunately are already in pieces, and using those parts to calculate the volume and the relative volume of different body parts on the doll. So I created a homemade beaker, filled it up with water, and calculated the water displacement from each body part from dolls of different sizes, all the way from the preemies to the newborns to the toddlers. So I was able to create a wealth of data on how weight distribution shifts across reborn dolls. I also needed to calculate the volume for the body as well. You don't really want to dunk the cloth bodies in water, but we were able to approximate the volume by taking some measurements of the body and treating it as if it were an ellipsoid. My husband's a PhD in engineering. He was able to help me with that. So it was a lot of experimenting, a lot of math, geometry went into creating what I am calling the Real Feel Baby Weight Calculator. And this is how I calculate the weight for all of my reborn dolls. And now I'm making it available to you in my online store. So all of that math, all of that geometry, you don't have to worry about doing any of that. It's in the calculator. The calculator will also give you the recommended total weight. So as we were saying earlier, a reborn doll that's meant to feel like it's 7 pounds doesn't actually weigh 7 real pounds. The Real Feel calculator will give you the recommended total weight for your doll to create that 7-pound real baby feel. But in spite of that, I figured that some folks watching this video would say, well, I don't really care. I still want my doll to weigh 7 actual pounds. That is okay. That is okay. You can override the recommended total weight in the calculator. So you can type in the weight that you want, and the calculator will still give you the appropriate distribution of that weight for any size doll kit, from a mini to an 18-month-old. So I had you in mind. I knew there would be some people out there that don't buy the dead weight theory, that still want real baby weight dolls. It's okay. The calculator will still work for you. The calculator also gives the weight distribution by age, so anywhere from that 25% head on a newborn to a 15% head on a toddler, how that weight's distributed across the arms and legs and body, it automatically calculates that for you. And it sounds really complicated, but I put a lot of formulas and a lot of code in the spreadsheet so that for your experience, it's an easy 10-step process. So all you do is fill in the squares or the cells that are in yellow. The calculator does the rest. And finally, for my beta users of the Real Feel Baby Weight Calculator, you will have access to free continuous improvement. As I'm creating dolls, as I'm doing calculations, I'm always feeding my learnings back into the calculator. So as I'm making it better, as I'm making it more accurate and more easy to use, you will receive those upgrades for free. This is not Microsoft. We're not gonna say, okay, now you need to buy the Real Feel Calculator 10 version. This is family. So once you're in the family, what I learn, I make available to you. You'll automatically get free upgrades. If you find a bug in the calculator or a place where it's spitting out inaccurate data, you tell me about it, I fix it. Everybody benefits from that upgrade. So that's just something that I wanted to make available to all of my users of the calculator. So we've got a few minutes left. I'm going to quickly walk you through how it works. And then in Stuffing and Weighting 301, we're finally going to take all those calculations, all of our weighting materials, and put together our baby doll. So let's take a look at the calculator. The Real Feel Reborn Weight Calculator is built in Microsoft Excel. So at this time, I believe you need to be on a computer in order to use it, but you don't have to have Excel. I will provide a link to OpenOffice, which will hopefully allow you to host this file on any operating system. Okay, so all you have to do, like I said, is this 10-step process. You just fill in the yellow boxes. So the first box asks for the baby's name. Step 2 is to select the doll's length in inches. And this is important. This is where some of the code comes in. So Elizabeth is a 20-inch baby doll. So I'm going to select 20 inches from the drop down, and I hope you noticed that some numbers updated. So my recommended total weight updated. So if she was a smaller baby, she would be recommended for 2 pounds. As a newborn size baby, the recommended weight is 5 pounds. If she were bigger, 26 inches, 6 pounds. So that's all being calculated in the background. All you have to do is select the inches. The other thing that is being updated real time in the spreadsheet is the ideal baby weight distribution. So as you can see down here, for a 26-inch doll, we're putting 15% of the weight in the head because it's a toddler doll, so 9-month-old. Elizabeth is a newborn at 20 inches. So now when you look back down here at the weight distribution, we're putting 25% of the weight in the head, and the arms, legs, and torso, all of those numbers are being updated as well. Like I said, you don't have to do any math, you just fill in the yellow boxes. Okay, so for Elizabeth, our recommended total weight is 80 ounces or 5 pounds. We're going to work in ounces, and your scale should also work in ounces because we need that level of precision, but the calculator will translate back and forth to pounds for you if you find that helpful. So in step 4, you have the option to enter your target doll weight. So if you say, you know what, I want it to be a 7-pound baby. Okay, 120 ounces, that's your 7-pound baby. The rest of the calculator is going to update. So that means if you want to use the recommended weight, you need to type that into the box. So we're going to shoot for that 5 pounds. That's my target doll weight. The next step is you have to weigh the vinyl. Each piece individually, and so you'll weight the head, the right arm, the left arm, the right leg, and the left leg. I recommend that you use a scale that has 1/10 of an ounce specificity, because for the size dolls that we're working with, a 1/10 of an ounce makes a difference. So it'll be good if your scale has that level of accuracy on it. And digital scales are not too expensive for that. You can use a food scale, you can use a postage scale. The next step is to weigh the cloth body plus any belly plates, any back plates, any silicone inserts, heartbeat box, breathing mechanism, whatever you're going to put in the body, we need the weight of that up front. And we'll capture that here. Okay, the next step then is this output here. So your ideal weight distribution is given in percentages as a percentage of total weight. So 25% of Elizabeth should be head, 50% of her should be torso, which is kind of nice actually. If you're sculpting or drawing a baby, the rule of thumb is that the body is 2 heads. If you're drawing, it's 2 heads. If you're sculpting, it's 2 heads. If you're waiting, it's 2 heads. So that's pretty cool. I love it when math works out. Okay, and then it gives your target weight in ounces. So for an 80-pound baby, 25% of that is about 20 ounces in the head. All of that's being calculated as well. So now we need to add our weighting material to the vinyl parts and to the torso to get it up to that amount. Now, the vinyl weight can sometimes be heavier than the ideal weight. You'll see this a lot in the arms. So the arms will be a little bit heavier than they're supposed to, and that's okay. The calculator is going to help you redistribute the weight so that your overall weight is still going to be the target weight that you selected. So you'll do your weighting, and then you'll weigh the parts again and fill in these yellow boxes. So the goal for Elizabeth was 20 ounces. I came in at about 21 ounces, not bad. So we reflect that in the calculator, and the calculator is going to tell you how much weight then you need to add to your torso. When you get to the end of the process, you'll calculate the total baby weight, and just for fun, there's a little birth announcement that gets generated. And you can print the birth announcement if you like. I might add some codes so that you can put a picture of your actual baby in there too. But it's taking all the information from the calculator and pulling it down into this cute little birth announcement about your baby being born on the day that you completed the weighting and assembly. And it gives the final weight in pounds and ounces. So that is the calculator. That's how it works. It is available on my online store, so please definitely check it out. Yeah, and then once you've decided how much weight you want to add to your baby and you've calculated where you want to put that weight, we can now get to the hard work of actually stuffing and assembling your Reborn doll. So thank you so much for reborning with me. Sorry I've been lagging you guys a little bit. You've gotten ahead of me in the process. It takes a lot of work to create and edit these videos, so thank you so much for your patience in the process. And please tune in next time when we're finally going to put Elizabeth together. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so that you'll be among the first to know about any new videos and updates. And I will look forward to seeing you next time.